Hey everybody, welcome to Luxury World. Today, we're gonna go over a look inside the new Air Force One. Make sure to watch until the end because it's one of the most amazing parts I've ever seen. The new design, which Mr. Trump showed in an ABC interview, trades in the iconic baby blue and white exterior for more patriotic colors. "There's your new Air Force One," he said, holding up the drawings of the red, white, and blue planes. The revamp would be the first since President John F. Kennedy was in office. Critics note a similarity between Mr. Trump's private jet and the new aircraft design, which Mr. Trump first announced last year. The presidential fleet includes two identical jets, and whichever one the president is aboard is given the signal name Air Force One. Before starting the video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. The first presidential jet plane, a specially built Boeing 707-120, is known as SAM Special Air Missions 970. This aircraft, as well as any other Air Force aircraft, carried the call sign Air Force One when the president was aboard. Delivered in 1959 to replace Eisenhower's Super Constellation, the high-speed jet transport is a flying oval office with a modified interior and sophisticated communication equipment. Jet technology gave a president the opportunity to meet face-to-face with world leaders easily. SAM 970 has carried Presidents Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, and Nixon, as well as VIPs such as Nikita Khrushchev and Henry Kissinger. In 1962, SAM 970 was replaced by a newer Boeing VC-137C, but SAM 970 remained in the presidential fleet, ferrying VIPs and the vice president until June of 1996. The background here is that US Air Force has been in the process of ordering new planes for presidential transport for years now. The first of two new planes was supposed to get here in 2024, but has been delayed, which is why any of this is an issue to begin with. The Trump Livery is what the Air Force has submitted in budget requests, but an Air Force general said Tuesday that is just a mock-up and that nothing is final. A final decision about the color will be made closer to when the planes enter service, which is now even later than planned due to supply chain issues, according to Lieutenant General Duke Richardson, the Air Force military deputy for acquisition. At some point, when the build proceeds to where it needs to be, Boeing will come to the government and ask for a final decision on the paint, Richardson said during a press conference at the Air Force Association's annual Air, Space, and Cyber Conference. Then, when that happens, we'll work that. For several years, the Air Force has used a concept image of the plane with the red, white, and blue livery chosen by Trump in the service's official budget request. The Biden administration's fiscal 2022 budget request also used that picture, but Richardson said, "Don't read anything into that. It's a cartoon, it's not a real airplane," he said. "It's just something that's on a paper." While Air Force One is just a call sign for any Air Force carrying the US president, the term is often used to refer to the pair of iconic blue and white Boeing 747s with the United States of America emblazoned on the side. From Hollywood to cable news, the current aircraft known as Air Force One has been made famous through frequent appearances when accompanying presidents on most of their trips. The current modified Boeing 747s that fly the Commander-in-Chief, known in the Air Force as VC-25As, are on their way out after serving only 5 presidents for nearly 3 decades. It's time for the Flying White House to enter the new jet age with a next-generation aircraft to fly the president, the Boeing 747-8i, in the same way passenger airlines are retiring their old Boeing 747s. Designated as the VC-25B, the new jet is larger and more efficient than its predecessor. But bigger in this case doesn't necessarily mean better, as the new Air Force One will actually be lacking some key features compared to its predecessor, despite the sky-high price tag. Despite a concerted effort on the part of the Air Force and President Donald Trump's administration, the total program is slated to cost $5.3 billion, according to Defense One. That price includes the aircraft purchase of around $800 million if purchased new, which they weren't, as well as the interior completion, special modifications, and a new hangar at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. Trump had gotten the price of the program down from $4.4 billion to $3.9 billion. Defense One also reported but that didn't include everything. Boeing is keeping the exact cost of the jets a closely guarded secret, according to Defense One. The last program to replace the Air Force One aircraft, which began under President Ronald Reagan and was completed during the George H.W. Bush administration, only cost $660 million, the LA Times reported. Boeing won't be building the new Air Force Ones from scratch, and in fact, the Air Force will technically be buying the aircraft secondhand. As part of the cost-saving efforts, Boeing sold the government two 747-8I aircraft that were built and intended to be delivered to a now-defunct Russian airline. Transaero, a Boeing spokesperson, confirmed to CNN. "We got a really good deal," former Air Force Secretary Heather Wilson told Bloomberg in an interview. The jets, which were selling for $390 million at the time of the deal, according to Defense One, were stored in California awaiting new owners. They were later flown to Lackland Air Force Base near San Antonio, Texas, according to the drive. The replacement program began under President Barack Obama, but a successor would have the most say in the acquisition process. In 2016, a newly elected Trump publicly complained about the high cost of the replacement program, which he stated was over $4 billion. Boeing is building a brand new 747 Air Force One for future presidents, but costs are out of control, more than $4 billion, Trump said in a 2016 tweet. Cancel order. Then Boeing CEO Dennis Muilenburg met with then-President-elect Trump at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, to discuss potential alternatives to lower the cost of the program, with 4 options according to Defense One. A $4.2 billion alternative was to purchase 2 new 747-8I jets, but only install the presidential configuration on one and a standard VIP interior on the other, while the $3.88 billion option involved only buying 1 new 747-8I and keeping one of the existing 747s. Less expensive alternatives also included buying 2 new 747-8I aircraft but eliminating some of the Air Force's requirements, or just installing VIP interiors instead of the presidential configuration demanded by the Air Force. All proposals were flatly rejected by the service branch, according to Defense One. Air Force One is the most recognizable plane in the world thanks to its stunning blue and white paint job, but the new jets will be getting a makeover thanks to Trump, who first expressed his desire to repaint the planes in a 2018 CBS News interview. The new design features more red, white, and blue compared to the current model. Trump kept a model of the jet with the new design in the Oval Office for visitors to see. It's unclear whether the other VIP Air Force jets painted in the timeless blue and white livery will be updated, or if the plane's soon-to-be inaugural flyer, Joe Biden, will keep Trump's changes. The Air Force announced in April that Boeing will develop the owner's manual for the new VC-25B aircraft, and the service branch is paying $84 million for it, Defense One reported. The manual will reportedly contain over 100,000 pages and won't even be ready at the time of the jet's estimated delivery to the Air Force, with Defense One reporting that it'll arrive in January 2025. Like most aircraft, the new planes will only last between 20 to 30 years, according to Defense One. The current VC-25A aircraft are scheduled to be replaced just over 3 decades from their first flights with Bush in 1990 and 1991. Boeing has announced an end date for the 747 programs after over a half-century of flight, with Atlas Air scheduled to receive the last 4 models in 2022. If the manufacturer stays the course and doesn't develop a new 2-level 4-engine plane, the next flying White House may be a downgrade to a smaller jet like the Boeing 777X. It's an impressive capability that can keep the president flying should there be no place to land, like in the event of war. But the feature has never been used, Air Force sources told Defense One, except in the Hollywood movie Air Force One. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the following videos here.